Welcome to my counselling room. I'm Peter Toth from Anazao, and you're perhaps looking at this book, Underestimating Satan, wondering whether or not you're going to purchase it. You're a little bit cagey perhaps because the title makes you feel uncomfortable. Why is that? Because the church is very good at subtly shaming us that if we focus too much on Satan, well then really we don't have enough faith in God. You know, it's interesting that after the death and resurrection of Jesus, Paul in the epistles talked about Satan as an apex predator, a roaring lion, which has got to be pretty powerful. And what do? We go and say, well, he has no teeth. What a totally unscriptural thing to say, he has no teeth. And on top of that, we go and say other glib statements such as greater is he that is in me than he that's in the world. And another one that's used often is, well, the IRS, they just look at a dollar note, and when they examine that, then they can tell a counterfeit immediately. So I just focus on Jesus. That's all I do, so that I can recognize the counterfeit. So sad, because Satan is plundering us while our cruise missiles remain in their silos. You see, believe me, people, I haven't written this book because I've sat with the Greek lexicon and I thought, well, what can I do? What can I write about? This book comes from thousands of hours of working with Christians on a daily basis and seeing the hooks the kingdom of darkness has in them with all kinds of ailments and illnesses, and realizing that he is very alive and active today. There just simply aren't books out that just focus on Satan that I've seen in Christian bookshops. So if you can get over that bias, you're going to enjoy this book. It looks at every single scripture, right from Satan's creation to his final demise, and gives you a perspective on it that I think you're going to find refreshing, and it's going to really challenge you, which is what all good books should do. In addition to that, it's going to answer questions that are controversial, ones such as, can Christians have demons? There's a whole chapter on that. Should we be talking to demons? There are 2 chapters on that. It also deals with some of the harder scriptures that I don't hear any sermons on. Scriptures like, well, if it's us against them, really, like the Nazis against the Allies, what's God doing sending a demon to Saul? Why does God send spirits between the men of Shechem and Abimelech? What about when there's a dialogue in heaven and God sends a deceiving spirit into the mouths of the prophets to deceive Ahab? Wow. We answer that question satisfactorily so that we look at every scripture on Satan, God's interaction with Satan, so that we understand the kingdom of light and the kingdom of darkness and get that in the right perspective. In addition to that, we look at other controversial scriptures, and you'll find that the treatment of the Nephilim will leave you very satisfied. We look at the armour of God. We look at issues to do with the length of our lives and how much control Satan has over the length of our lives, how much control today he has over the elements. And we really challenge some of the things that we say glibly as Christians. Here's one. Well, Satan was defeated at the cross. I don't know how many times I've heard that sermon. Actually, Satan wasn't defeated at the cross at all. Wow, heresy, you say, Peter. No, not at all. Think about it. When was Satan defeated that we know about? Well, he rose up against God with a third of the angels. There was a battle. The angels, God's angels, defeated Satan's angels, and they were cast out of the third heaven and cast down to earth. Satan hasn't re-risen against God to be re-defeated by him. He was created as a servant, and he's always been a servant. And aside from that rebellion, there's been no other. So what actually happened at the cross? How did that affect Satan? Well, it affected him in 4 ways, which we discuss in the book. But there are more than 10 other ways where he hasn't been affected at all. We tend to think that he's just wandering around with his tail between his legs, head bashed in after the cross, just waiting for revelation to come to pass. No, not at all. This book is so important. You're going to get so much out of it when you read it. The book is endorsed by Charles Kraft, who's a professor of theology at Fuller Theological Seminary. And as he said the the whole area of our theology to do with Satan is so underdeveloped. So this is a refreshing read. But on top of that, you're not going to come away feeling depressed. It talks about Jesus, about God, his passionate interaction with us. And he's your greatest friend, your biggest cheerleader. So you're going to find this book full of hope. It will help you to do deliverance much more effectively, because once you understand the enemy, then you'll be far, far more effective. It's prerequisite reading for the first week of our school. So I look forward to your feedback, and maybe even meeting you at one of our schools or one of our seminars.